try and warm the old place up tonight. Do our best. You do your best, and we'll all win. How you doing?
He was rock and roll's sexiest superstar. She was his little angel.
Kimberly was such a little drama queen. I mean, we used to call her Betty Davis.
I would just cling onto his leg, and I'd be like, no, Daddy, I had a dream that your plane's gonna crash. You can't go.
As the saying goes, like father, like daughter.
They do portray Kim as a party girl, purely because I think you are who you hang out with.
For Kimberly, fame was a fight.
People have all these preconceived notions of spoiled little brat or crazy rock star's daughter.
To be born into this kind of life, there's always a penalty to the privilege.
Rod faced a much tougher battle.
The time he was diagnosed with the cancer.
It was very traumatic just to hear that word.
I just started bawling.
In the next hour, exclusive interviews and rare photos and footage reveal the family saga behind the rock and roll glitz.
There was always another woman in his life. She never kind of had him to herself.
I'm pretty in tune to musicians at this point and their little tricks.
Between you and me, I haven't changed at all.
This is the story of a truly dynamic duo.
He turned up to school functions in a Lamborghini and leopard pants.
This is Rod and Kimberly Stewart, the E! True Hollywood story.
I am Daddy's little girl. I will always, always be that. I'm so excited, and he's such a good support system for me.
Paparazzi princess Kimberly Stewart had some impressive fans, but none more recognizable than her dad, rock legend Rod Stewart.
It's a little unnerving, because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to actually do, because I'm not the star of the show, for a change, and Kimberly is, so I don't know where to put my body, as it were.
While Kimberly made a name for herself as a model and designer, Rod focused on more domestic endeavors. In November 2005, he became a father for the 7th time, this time with his 34-year-old fiancée, Penny Lancaster. Their newborn, a baby boy named Alistair.
I'm very content. This is a very good point in my life. I couldn't ask for anything more. To be having a child at 60 is a phenomenal boost for the ego, if I may say.
He's like a 30-year-old.
Everything is rosy in the garden. It's brilliant.
I mean, this man, he will never stop going.
Roderick David Stewart hit the ground running in London, England on January 10th, 1945. Rod was the youngest of 5 kids. His hard-working parents, Robert and Elsie, ran a news agency.
Music was a huge influence in the Stewart household. His father and his mother used to go out every weekend, and they were very keen on music, and he would hear them singing some of the great classic tunes from those days.
Music became Rod's favorite pastime.
My dad bought me a guitar for no apparent reason, because he thought there might be some money in it.
When Rob was 15 or 16, he'd begun his singing career. Now, there was no income in it, so he had to do other jobs.
He took this grave digging job, which I think lasted about a week. Something which, the word we used to use in the 60s was snazzy. It was a snazzy job to do, being a gravedigger.
Rod also played in local bands and worked on his vocals. The practice paid off.
Long John Baldry, who was a seminal blues figure in the 60s in England, had a band and heard Rod singing one night on Twickenham Station and said, "Young man, you've got a nice voice, come and sing with me."
Stewart accepted Baldry's invitation to join the band Steam Packet.
He was terribly shy when he first got up on stage. He used to sing with his back to the audience, couldn't face them, much to everyone's amusement. But eventually, he managed to turn himself around and realize that there was an audience he should actually be singing to.
Steam Packet was one of the hottest live bands in the UK. Rod's unique look made it even hotter.
In England, there were a whole breed of kids called the mods, and the mods were the most stylish teenagers there were.
Ladies took note, one in particular.
Rod met this beautiful girl called Susanna, and they had a loving, fairly long relationship. Then she became pregnant, and it was difficult times in those days. And I think Rod decided that a child at that stage of his life, when he was so young, still in his teens, might be adverse towards his great dreams. The child was put up for adoption.
18-year-old Rod and his girlfriend split. For Stewart, career came first. In 1967, a hot guitarist named Jeff Beck recruited Stewart as the lead vocalist for his band, the Jeff Beck Group.
It's hard to imagine Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart's ego fitting in one little power trio. So it didn't last long.
Fortunately, another popular band was looking for a fresh face.
Rod Stewart brought a face to the Faces. They were a traveling group of plundering rock stars, you know, who wanted your booze and women in that order.
Try and warm the old place up tonight. Do our best, you do your best, and we'll all win.
Rod was determined to be the main attraction. While still with the Faces, he cut 2 solo albums. Neither sold well, but in 1971, the 26-year-old tried again. Stewart's third album, Every Picture Tells a Story, featured an autobiographical song called Maggie May.
It's based on a truth. It was my first shag where I lost my virginity, and it lasted precisely 28 seconds. It was at the Bewley Jazz Festival when I was very young. Well, not by today's standards, but I was about 16. And I lost my virginity to this rather large girl. I don't think her name was Maggie, but that's what the song's all about. I wasn't a stud in those days, far from it.
Maggie May, think of what that woman did for him. Got him laid and made him a superstar. I hope he wrote her a thank you letter at some point.
Maggie May topped the charts on both sides of the Atlantic and became Rod Stewart's first #1 hit. It also marked his farewell to the Faces. According to Stewart, in 1975, he left his native England for Beverly Hills, California, where he could dodge hefty British taxes. The rocker indulged in the Hollywood lifestyle and encountered a legendary Bond girl.
Britt Ekland was a very famous, gorgeous Swedish actress, and Rod had just exploded worldwide. And when that comes together, they become a tabloid gift. So the papers and the photographers followed them everywhere, and they were a very attractive couple.
He's a very boyish person, and he's a very generous person emotionally. And I think in an emotional way, I was really swept off my feet.
Well, she's magnificent. I mean, the thing that I'm more impressed with than anything is her insight to my business.
But Rod's flirtation with another blonde film star soon got him into hot water.
What about you, Rod? Because you've got a great reputation as a womanizer, and we all read the scandal. You were chatting up Susan George and got a smacked face for it. Do you get annoyed by this?
Which was not true. I have to point out at this time, it was absolutely not true. It was one of several totally and utterly fabricated stories about us.
Why is it?
Yes, darling. It's quite true. Now, what she says is very true.
No, it is true.
What she says has made it very clear, hasn't it?
By August of 1977, Rod and Britt were history. The breakup devastated Ekland, who developed an eating disorder. She also sued Stewart for more than $12 million, citing breach of contract. Ekland claimed she gave up her own career to support Stewart's. The suit was eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed amount.
I think he just felt that it was sad that someone had made money out of him, and I think it did sort of cloud his view of women from then on in terms of his own personal fortune.
Yet Rod wasn't exactly hurting. The singer was cranking out an album per year. He was also prolific with the ladies. In 1978, another blonde beauty entered the picture, 32-year-old model Alana Hamilton, the ex-wife of movie star George Hamilton. Rod met Alana at a Hollywood party and asked his manager to give her a call.
I said, well, doesn't he know how to use a telephone? I didn't really find him attractive until we actually went out and started talking, and as the night went on, he was very cute. He had a very charming, little boyish way about him.
I remember them just being all over each other like cheap suits. I mean, they were just so, you know, mad about each other.
A few months later, Alana found out she was pregnant.
I wasn't interested in having a baby and not being married, so, you know, it was real clear that that was part of the package. If we were going to have a baby, then we needed to be married.
On April 6, 1979, the two blondes made it official.
It was a very kind of last-minute wedding because Rod was really paranoid, and we got married at Tina Sinatra's house.
The wedding ceremony itself was very small. It was in my living room. It was the quietest little service I've ever attended, actually, but that was by choice, and that was fine with me. It could have been a circus.
Coming up, daughter knows best.
I would just cling onto his leg, and I'd be like, no, Daddy, I had a dream that your plane's gonna crash. You can't go.
Demand